What can we learn from squirrels? Yes, squirrels. That's going to make us more productive in our business and our life. Stay tuned and listen in as Kathi Burns shares what we can learn from squirrels. Welcome to Biz Success in 15. I'm your host, Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and I'm here to guide you as you step into who you are with outrageous confidence for more visibility, influence, and profits. You can get your visibility checklist at visibilitychecklist.com. Today we have with us Kathi Burns, and Kathi is an expert professional organizer, and she's here to help us become more organized and energized. Now, Kathi is nationally recognized for her simple organizing and style solutions, and she's been featured on Good Morning America as a successful woman-owned business. Welcome, Kathi. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks, Cindy, for having me on the show.
Definitely our pleasure. So I know that you always tell us that we need to be as productive as squirrels are. So can you explain to us a little bit about why you say that?
Well, sure. I love squirrels, and squirrels are my thing. I watch them all the time. I watch them scurrying around, jumping from branch to branch. They're always busy and they're always running around doing things, right? And I always have this big fight with them because they're trying to get to my bird feeder. And they usually always win. But this is the thing about squirrels. I don't know if you have ever watched squirrels. I don't know if it's your
I
pastime.
definitely watch squirrels. I have pictures of them. I've been seeing tons of them the last few months. It's just like crazy how many of them. And matter of fact, my husband seen an albino squirrel a week ago.
Ooh, that's cool.
Very cool.
I'm just mesmerized by them because they're always busy. And I watch them burying nuts in my flower pots. And then I watch them coming back and then they can't find the nut. And so I did a little bit of research. And here's the thing: squirrels lose 40% of the nuts that they bury. And it's like, I've witnessed this. I'm like, why can't you find it? I just saw it there, right? And so then I started thinking, okay, so they lose 4 out of 10 nuts. Like but that means that they're 60% effective in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If we take this with entrepreneurs, we're only 20% effective of what we do. Only 2 out of the 10 things that we do count towards our bottom line or make any sense towards our business. We're always stuck in busyness like squirrels. I think that's why I love them so much, because they're always busy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy, Cindy, to get stuck in busyness, don't you think? It's like, let's just do something. And so we'll jump from branch to branch of our business and not really think about what really is the next step or where we're going to bury that next nut. Can you relate?
I definitely I like that analogy like a whole lot, because I do absolutely love watching squirrels. My husband and I take weekly weekly date trips, but typically we go out into the forest and we like looking for wildlife. So we will sit there and we'll watch the deer or the squirrels or birds. And the squirrels they're so fascinating, the way they scurry around and the way they chase other people away or other squirrels away that are trying to get their food. But totally fascinated by it. So I like the analogy too. If they are 60% effective and we're only 20% effective, are there ways that we can increase our effectiveness?
I think, number one is stop being busy. Like, take a minute to listen to our natural instincts of what we should be doing with our business. Like squirrels, they don't really think about it. They're just doing their thing, right?
Right.
And so, they have the God gift of being able to just be on task. And actually, they lose 40% of the nuts, so we have trees, which is cool.
Right.
But what we do is we don't stop to listen, and we will jump from branch to branch, system to system within our business so often that oftentimes we have two systems fighting against each other. or they're duplicated and we don't even know which one's working and which one's not. Like perhaps two databases or two calendars and they're not syncing together. And then we don't even know, what happened to our schedule at that point because we're not really being premeditated on the steps that we take towards being productive.
Mm-hmm. I know what I've started just doing recently because I would always say, I just have this saying, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't get nothing done. I don't have enough time. And I'm sure lots of other people have said that too. And what I started doing was every day at the end of my day, I write down 3 to 5 things I did that day, which is helping me see how productive I really am versus focusing on what I don't have. So I'd love to know what you think of that.
I think that's a great idea. I have a free gift that I'm going to offer called Burn Your To-Do List.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, and it's 6 steps to enhance your productivity. And the reason that you're dead on is because a typical to-do list, you only get done 40% of the to-do list at best every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens with the to-do list, we always feel like we're behind. Mm-hmm. And we always feel like we're trying to play catch up. And it's impossible to do your to-do list. And in fact, if you think about it, a to-do list is saying, I'll get to it later.
Right.
Right? You're not doing it. You're putting it down for future reference. So your idea of putting down what you actually did at the end of the day is a really good thing. It's like, good job, Cindy. Yeah, you did a great job, and it allows you to rest in the fact that you were productive, that you did get things done, that you did make an impact in your business. And I love that also in the fact that when you're writing it down, you can say, oh, I don't think that one really moved the needle. Right? Or maybe I shouldn't have done that. So having an introspective moment at the end of your day, I think is a really good idea. So kudos. That's really good, Cindy.
And what's funny is I've never used to-do lists. My husband, he's a to-do list fanatic. Like he writes anything and everything down. But me, I've never liked to-do lists because if I look at 20 things I have to do, I get overwhelmed, but they stay in my head. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Or I think I'm going to do A, B, and C, and it's going to take me 2 hours, but it takes me 10 hours. And then I beat myself up because I didn't do D, E, and F.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to-do lists can be really demoralizing like that. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do instead is to have an umbrella of intention under each day. So if you look at, as entrepreneurs, we usually work more than 5 days, but let's say we work 5 days, then you have an intention for a Monday, an intention for Tuesday, an intention for Wednesday. Take, for instance, Monday could be your planning and prep day, probably should be, or organizing day, right? Get your act together. Tuesday could be your let's go out on meetings day. Wednesday, or, book meetings and see people. Wednesday could be your project day. We're actually following through on the meetings that you have from the day before. And Thursday could be, let's say, so you have in-person meetings, out-person meetings. Everybody's a little bit different, but having an intention or an umbrella over each day really helps you schedule things in advance. Know when you want to see people. And it also allows you, from an effective time management perspective, is to chunk your different tasks into blocks of time. Right. So having a project day is critical. Bare minimum, every entrepreneur should have a 4-hour block in their schedule sometime every single week to do that project, that elusive project that never gets done. What I found as a pro organizer is you need a 4-hour block of time to really knock something out of the park and make a big progress on your big project, right? So if you have something that's been eluding you for a long, long time, that will seal the deal. If you think about it, 4 hours a week for 4 weeks minimum, sometimes 5, you have 16 to 20 hours worth of time to that big project. And then you'll actually move the needle and get that big thing done that's been eluding you.
It's interesting. And I've heard you say that 4 hours so many times. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's probably why I just did what I did. But I was trying, I have a book, Money Making Activities for Coaches. And so, I preach, you need to do money making activities every day. but I didn't feel like it was moving the needle, even though I was doing money making activities every day. So I just blocked out 4 hours of every week to focus on those money making activities. So obviously it got into my subconscious and I did it.
It's
Also,
powerful. It's powerful.
I used to have this mentor and I didn't understand like her. She was like, but I think you will understand because I think it's a good thing now after learning so much from you, is she would have different sections of time. Like she would do her strategy calls, or she would do her private coaching calls, or she would do her VIP calls. And she had certain blocks of time and she would do nothing else. So it's
Right.
like if she had a 15-minute downtime, she wasn't trying to go do something else. Now, me, I would like, hey, I have 30 minutes between the next call. What can I get done? And then I'm scrambling to get something done in that 30 minutes,
Yeah.
which I found I don't think is as productive as her way.
Well, what happens when you do that, and I have the tendency to do that, but what I try to do is do mindfulness in between. Like I just did a breath work session in
Mhm.
between a couple appointments today. But what happens when you jam in that little 30 minutes, it's busyness. It's typically something that you did like a partial, but it didn't really get you anywhere. And then when you come back around, you don't know what you did or what you didn't do because you squeezed it in there. So you're right. It's not that effective. It's much more effective to get up and walk and go look at a tree, watch a squirrel,
Right.
plan a, whatever you can do in 30 minutes. It's just kind of away from in between, away from whatever you're in between of moving.
Because then you're not putting your mind, like you're not trying to multitask that way.
Yes. And when we multitask, I mean, you're good at not multitasking, but when we multitask, we generally don't get hardly anything done. I
Mhm.
mean, we get like bits and pieces of things done, and then we can't, just like a squirrel, we can't find the nut that we buried.
Right.
So that's what we do as entrepreneurs too. We bury these nuts all throughout our business, and then we scurry away and we jump to a new branch of a new appointment or a new client or a new task, and then we forget where we put or what we did with that original nut, and then we've lost it. That's why we're at 20% productivity typically in a
Mhm.
day.
Yeah. Now, years ago, when I first started working in social services and I was an admin, we used to have to put together these packets of papers. And there was maybe 25 papers in each packet, right? And all my coworkers used to laugh at me because I would like separate the papers and I would put them all together and I would stack them. I would put like one and then I would ultimate like this, right? So then after I was done with it, then I would go put them in the envelopes and then I would seal all the envelopes, right? And so I did it three separate and everybody told me you're wasting so much time. So people used to race me and I always won.
Of course.
Always.
Of course. You were chunking your task into buckets.
Hmm.
Chunking your time and chunking your task, it makes so much sense.
Hmm.
It's hard. I mean, I'm a little bit ADD. It's hard to stay linear. And
Yeah.
that's a very linear thing to do, but it's so much more effective.
Mhm. Something else now, even our episode here is always a broadcast on Everyday Woman TV because I'm a host of Everyday Woman TV. The co-founder, Galit, I love her bunches. And whenever she teaches and talks, she says she schedules every Thursday at 9 a.m. to do her Everyday Woman TV episode. And then it's all done by 10 o'clock. And I have tried doing that, but that doesn't work for me. It's like
Mhm.
I have to block off like a Saturday morning and do them all for the next month. It's like whenever I just do it 1 hour like that, to me, I feel like I get behind. But like I can take a Saturday and I can whip out 6 to 10 of them in one day. So what's the psychology behind that with organization?
Well, everybody's different. So what I love about organizing clients is there's no one way to do anything. And
Mhm.
it's really about how the client thinks and operates. Now, for me and for you, we do better doing big chunks of time. Take, for instance, I film my podcast all five a month in one day.
Right.
Okay, that works for me. Just like your Saturday, you can do it all in one day.
Mhm.
Now, the other lady, she's really good at parceling out her tasks. So she's really good at turning on, turning off, turning on, turning off. And she's very, for her, that's probably her time that she's the most on is 10 to 11 a.m. So
Mhm.
that time she can just knock it out. And so that works for her. And there, like I say, there's no wrong or right way to do things. It's like what works for you and your brain. I know that I do not want to film podcasts every day of the week.
Right.
I want to get it just done. Just like you want to do it on a Saturday, I want to knock it out on a Thursday and boom, bam, they're done. Right.
Yeah.
So everybody's different. From a productivity standpoint, I like chunking like things together. Now, I would be curious to see what she does right after that 10 to 11 block, if she takes a break, or what if she jumps into similar types of mental categories. Maybe she's following up with the same kind of idea and the same topic. So maybe she's done an umbrella of the day of teaching, and
Mhm.
she's teaching, and then she's teaching clients as opposed to class. I would, who knows what she does with that. But if it's not broken, it's the way I work with every client's different, and I just love that. If it's not broken, I don't fix it. If that works for her, I'd be going, yeah, girl, go for it. Let's do it, and let's see what we're doing for the rest of the day. Right?
Exactly. And I think that's it. There's so many things out there, and sometimes we make ourselves wrong when we listen to other people.
Yeah.
I remember for years I'd read all these books. In order to be successful, you have to get up at 5 a.m. and you have to do this and that. And I constantly beat myself up because if I get up at 5 p.m., I'm like, oh, yeah, right. And it's like my brain doesn't work. I can't do anything. Um, so then once I gave myself permission to get up at 7 o'clock, it was so much easier. But we read things about like organization thinking there's that one magic pill that everybody's going to use. And I like that you're saying, you have to find your style.
Yeah, absolutely. When I work with time management with my clients, it's all about their biological clock.
Mm.
I don't I am perfectly functioning by 9:30 or 10, but if you ask me to do something at 8 or 7, I am not that functioning. So I know my biological clock. I know when I'm most on. So I start with clients with, when are you on? Are you a night owl or are you a morning girl? What is it? And then we build the schedule from there. And it's really just about following your body's algorithms, because that's when you're going to be there's always a time in the day where we're most effective. And that, my friend, is where you chunk that 4-hour block, by the way, for that big task, for that big project. You're going to pop it right there in the middle of that, I'm invincible kind of zone, because we all have that zone sometime during the day. Some of my 6 to 7 at night. Some they're 7 to 8 a.m. I'm like, okay, go for it, girl, but I'll see you at 9.
About that, how do we even figure out what that best time is for ourselves?
Well, first off, you have to think about what hours do you go to sleep? What hours do you wake up? So what's your normal sleeping time and your normal waking time, right?
Mhm.
So we start there. So take, for instance, I don't go to sleep till like midnight. I don't normally wake up till 7:30, right? So, then you have an hour and a half of padding time right after you wake up to kind of get in the groove, do whatever morning ritual you're going to do, and then you start work. And then you'll notice when you start getting dragged out, right? And so whenever it's like, okay, for me, I could take a nap 3 to 3:30 every single day, no problem. I'm an expert napper.
Mhm.
So I know that 3 to 3:30 is not my prime, but guess what? Noon to 3 is perfect for me. So you'll know when you have the energy, and you'll know. So you need to pay attention to when you go to sleep, when you wake up, when you start crashing and you're like, oh, okay, I need some coffee or something. That time in between there is going to be your productivity time. That's what's going to happen. And some people, they're just ramped up and ready, and they don't really start spiraling down till 8 o'clock at night. Like I have a client, she does her most productive stuff 6 to 7 at night. That's her time. She is on like
Yeah.
with, right? So you have to just listen to your body, really,
Mhm.
and think about when, you can force yourself to go to sleep at certain times. You can force yourself to wake up at certain times. But guess what? We're entrepreneurs. We are here to create our own destiny, and we created our own business to have a life of freedom. Your freedom should follow your body, your biological, your normal biological clock. I used to always say, oh, I used to beat myself up for not being up at 8 a.m. and ready to go.
Right.
That was like the standard. Now I know, I start my day usually 9:30 or 10. I never see a client before 10 a.m. because that's when I can be really, really effective with them, right? I'm not going to be effective with them at 8. So you just have to honor your own body and pay attention to when you feel energized and when you feel like sleepy. That's going to be your kicker right there.
And I love that, especially even saying like whenever it's your time or that you're more energized at 10. Even though I get up at 7, I typically don't start working with clients till 10 either. That gives me all of my self-care time to chill, to eat breakfast, visit with my husband, meditate, exercise. So those first few hours are my time. There are a couple of days of the week that I have to get up, start working earlier, but 10 is definitely my magic time. That I feel good. I've taken care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself in the morning, it's never going to happen.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. I mean, if your morning time should be the time for you to give back to yourself so that you're not running depleted for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So whatever that means to you. I mean, I have another client that gets up at 5 and by 8, she's on and ready. I'm like, you go girl. But she does a really extreme morning schedule for herself. She does 2 hours of like meditation, relaxation, stretching and whatnot. But for her, that it works out perfect. I couldn't be doing that in the morning, but I also can write a book from 7 to 9 p.m. because I'm pretty much on in the evening. So, and she never could do that. Right. So everybody's different. That's why I love being an artistic creative organizer, because everybody's different and I can create a system based on them and not on my little preconception of what should happen. I only know the one thing that I know for a fact, which that I know, because I keep saying all the time, you need that 4-hour block somewhere in your week, same time, same bat channel, consistency. If you want to write the book, write the play, film the movie, whatever it is that you want to do, this your big goal, right? The elusive one. If you have that, you'll actually do it.
Very good. Now, in all of my episodes, I like sharing something, an action step that our listeners can take that takes 15 minutes. That's the success in 15. So do you have a tip that you can give somebody, something to get them started that will take them about 15 minutes to do?
Okay, what I would say is take a look at your calendar, take a look at all the things that you do, make a quick jot down of what you do. I see clients, I do podcasts, I do speaking, I write proposals. Jot that all down and try to create an intention for 5 days a week that will group certain categories of those together, and then try to follow that. That should take you like 15 minutes. But then, follow it afterward. Just give it a week or two, seeing, oh, can I do it on this day? Did it work? And you're going to get really clear-minded on the categories of things that you do, what you shouldn't be doing, which is an important thing, and how you can cluster like things together.
I love that. It's great. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. I know we're already over 15 minutes, and I know that you have a great gift for our listeners. So can you share what it is? And if you want to, you can share the link, and we'll also be posting the link in everything we do.
Sure, absolutely. It's called Burn Your To-Do List, 7 Healthy Habits for Entrepreneurs. It will show you what you can do and what you might not want to do to boost your productivity and get more done. And it starts with not having a never-ending to-do list that will just defeat you and deflate you. And the link will be below. It's kind of a long link. So if you go to organizedsandenergized.com, you will find some information, but the link will be below. It's get.organizedsandenergized.com/burn/your/to/do/list. Too long.
Yes.
Yes. for that.
And I'm going to repeat it just for the people that are listening and aren't watching the video or aren't on the page, is get.organized and energized.com/burn, all lowercase, -to-do-list. And if all else fails, just drop me a line and I'll make sure I get you the right link. So thank you, Kathi. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
We are all individuals. Do not burn yourself out. Make sure that you take care of yourself. There are easy ways to become more productive with less stress and less time taken. So just think about your biological clock, honor it. Don't try to fit yourself into someone else's system, and honor your body and honor your time, and figure out when you are most productive and put those heavy duty things right in that pocket of each day, and you'll get more done. And if you want more help, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to give you a few more tips for your specific challenges.
Okay. Thank you, Kathi. It's been great speaking to you. And to our listeners, be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Biz Success in 15, so you can step into who you are with outrageous confidence for more visibility, influence, and profit.